Welcome back to Ascot. High-class fillies on deck for race 3. This is the Group 2, Duke of Cambridge Stakes. It's a straight mile, give or take 1,600 metres. Let's have a look at the runners and riders. Ocean Jewel, number 1, has never been better than she is right now. Breege is a model of consistency in this type of race. What do we make of Laurel? She has the best rating in the race, but she hasn't been seen for over a year now. Novus could be a lifelong shot. She probably needs some rain. Further down, Rogue Millennium won this race last year. She's back for another crack after an unlucky run at the Curragh last time. And Running Lion has all the ability in the world, but she's not particularly consistent. Let's start here with Laurel. She is the obvious talking point. Simon, when she's good, she looks very, very good. But when we last saw her over a year ago, she disappointed.
Yeah, she looked really good, didn't she, in the Sun Chariot a couple of years ago? That's old form now. She really hasn't stood up to her racing. She's, as you say, been out of action for over a year. I think to come back fresh from whatever that problem was and win a race like this is a pretty tall order. I think she's worth taking on.
Maddy, let me ask you one question about this filly. You can read too much into social media clips in life as a whole, but we saw a video clip of this filly Laurel working with Lord North and Inspiral on the July course at Newmarket recently, and she dropped right away. Would that bother you in any way, or are you happy to just judge her on her form?
I think it's always wise to take in as much information as you can. So any evidence to help inform your punting is good evidence, but equally you can't totally pin your mast on it. I wouldn't be totally concerned. I don't think John Gosden would be running her here if he didn't think that she was well prepared. And she has got that standard of form if she produces it. I think she can be involved, but it's going to be a big ask.
Oh, a quick line for both of you. Start with you, Maddy. On last year's race, Rogue Millennium, I think, was with Tom Clover at the time. She toughed it out. She's probably still the same filly this time around, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Graham. And this race is a tough race to assess. There's not much between many of these fillies. A lot will come down to how the race is run. But Rogue Millennium, on last year's form, she's right up there. She produced a really strong late burst to win that day. I don't think it's going to take much more to win this edition.
Simon, I think she's been purchased for 1.65 million guineas since then to go to Joseph O'Brien. She was even money for the Landwade Studs stakes at the Curragh, and she got no room whatsoever.
No, she's clearly open to more progress. They paid a lot of money for a reason. She's a class act. She did win this race in good style last year for Tom Clover, who did an excellent job with her. She was second in the Group 1 Matron Stakes as well. So she's got top draw form, and she'll really run a race, I'm sure.
I'm going to stay with you, Simon, for 2 clips of Breege. The first one will be a good handicap performance at the Royal Meeting last year from a mark of 100, and the second, a battling performance in slightly better company in the autumn. It's hard to knock Breege in any way.
It is, and although perhaps on paper she looks like she's got a little bit of progress to make, I think she can bridge that gap. She was very impressive at Epsom on her last run. I'll come back to that in a second. But we see the horse finishing second in the Sandringham last year, so again showing her aptitude for the stiff finish here at the track. She's run some really solid races, including the Princess Elizabeth at Epsom last time out. One or two people might consider that a couple of horses behind were a bit unlucky, but I like the way she acquitted herself to the task, and Sean and John Quinn have got a big chance.
Ascot form is a plus for her. What else should we mention here, Maddy?
We should mention my fancy, Graham, which is Royal Dress number 12. She was one of the horses that Simon mentioned was incredibly unlucky in that Princess Elizabeth at Epsom last time. I think if you ran that race again as honourable as Breege was in winning, you'd probably get a different result. And I think the Royal Dress definitely would have been winning most of those editions. She's still lightly raced since she's been with James Tate, formerly with Richard Hannon, but she won at Goodwood before that, showing a really good attitude. I think we've yet to see the best of her.
Simon, wrap up this Duke of Cambridge, please.
I think there's value about Breege. There's more to come from John and Sean Quinn's filly. So number 2, Breege for me for the placers, number 12, Royal Dress, number 1, Ocean Jewel, and number 11, Rogue Millennium.
It's 12 Royal Dress on top for me, Graham, followed by 11, 6 and 1.
Handsome Royal Dress from Maddy as well. I'm going to go with last year's winner here. Rogue Millennium just has the form to run really well. She got no luck first time out. She's done 11, followed by 2, 6 and 1. Duke of Cambridge, differences of opinion. I'm going for last year's winner.